Today is World Autism Awareness Day.
Angela Geiger is the president of Autism Speaks, and she is joining us now via satellite to help us understand more. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you.
Angela, I was sitting there with my 4-month-old nephew yesterday, and I'm holding him in my hands. He seems perfectly healthy, perfectly happy. Is autism something that can be diagnosed that early, or is it something that has to wait until the child has more developmental needs?
He's a little early. Autism can be reliably diagnosed by the age of 2 in most children, though the average age of diagnosis across the country is closer to 5 years of age, between 4 and 5 years of age.
And this is so important, right? Because there is a diagnosis disparity, and in wealthier communities, they're catching it sooner. They can do those birth to 3 programs, and that can be a big problem down the road if parents or caregivers are missing the signs, right?
Yeah, it can be, because we know that early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. And so going to sites like screenforautism.org, and a parent can educate themselves both in English and in Spanish about what those signs are, and then really be connected to those early intervention resources so that the person can be as successful as they can be.
Angela, it might sound like a stupid question, but when I was in school, there was no autism. Were there autistic kids there just under a different diagnosis? Or is this a fairly new 20 to 30 year disease?
Well, a couple things there. First of all, the prevalence of autism is rising. So, for example, in Connecticut, it's as much as 1 in 23 kids have been diagnosed. And also, there's as people become more aware, there is better diagnosis going on. But yes, there are absolutely kids when you were growing up. And in fact, kids with autism grow up to be adults with autism at the rate of about 50,000 per year. So those people are also living in communities now.
And I think it's confusing for people because there's the spectrum, right? So there's a whole variance of how people are going to present. Can you educate us a little bit about that? What are the signs you're looking for, and what accounts for all these variances?
Yeah, that is such an important point, that autism truly is a spectrum, and what one person's strengths or challenges are will be very different than someone else's. And that's why it's so important to treat people with autism as individual people and personalize treatment for what their needs are, in order so that they get the support they need over their lifetime.
What is the first thing that I would notice in a child that might indicate that we're leading towards an autistic diagnosis?
So you start to see some of those signs as early as 6 months, where it's no smiles, lack of eye contact, progressing forward to that back and forth that kids do as they get a little bit older. You know, by 24 months, they should be using 2-word phrasings. If you're not seeing those milestones, you really do want to talk to your healthcare provider about that.
So if you do, and some parents might be afraid, oh my gosh, what does this mean? The early intervention, why is that so important, and how does it make a difference?
You really have hit on one of the barriers we identified, Autism Speaks and the Ad Council, when we were developing this campaign, that sometimes the actual diagnosis parents saw as an end. And in fact, what the autism diagnosis is really a beginning. And so that you can get connected to those early interventions that can help that person with autism live their very best life.
And where would we go for more information on autism?
So you can go to screenforautism.org for information in both English and Spanish. And then as you need resources over your lifetime, you can go to autismspeaks.org.
Interesting. Okay.
Thank you so much. I know a lot of the schools here in Connecticut are marking this day by wearing special colors and raising awareness, and that's something everyone else can do as well.
Absolutely. We'd like the whole world to turn blue today for understanding and acceptance.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you being with us on Better.
You'll find helpful resources on identifying the signs of autism and the next steps online, again, at that website. It's autismspeaks.org.